Going on, guys? My name's Romero. I'm gonna be doing some little vlog videos in regards to little travel videos here and there about how I got started, get to meet new people, get to meet new places, and just learn myself about the bikers community, because I've never ever thought I was gonna get a motorcycle in my life. So I want to share that with you guys just because I think it's pretty interesting how I got here, basically. So my name's Romero. I want to start with how I first started getting into motorcycles. So around 2018, summertime 2018, I was working at a warehouse job out in San Jose, and one of my buddies hit me up and says, "Hey, there's a job opening very soon, or a job opening up very soon here at the dealership." And I was like, I don't know nothing about motorcycles or ATVs or dirt bikes, scooters, jet skis, So I was like, all right, well, I mean, I could try, I'm not scared to try new things. So I told him, all right, well, let's set, I'm interested, let's set something up with, the manager, and I'll be more than happy to come in and see if it's for me. So I went in and, talked to the manager and told him exactly what I do, told him exactly what I'm trying to learn, and most of all, trying to make money, of course, at a dealership. So it was interesting because, he was talking to me just about where he's from and everything, and right away we got along very well, and I was very comfortable with him. And he asked me when I could start, and I was like, well, honestly, I can, right now I'll put in my 2-week notice, and I'll come in and like just learn stuff and watch, and I'll just come after work, And he's like, okay, that sounds good to me. So I started doing that basically after work every day for 2 weeks, because the other finance manager was leaving to Hawaii, and he was showing me everything. He was, showing me everything about bikes and everything like that. And in my head, I'm like, God, who would have thought I would be working here at a dealership where we sell, motorcycles and stuff like that. And in my head, I've always remembered my family telling me, oh, those are very dangerous, everyone dies on them, this and that, just being negative about stuff like this. And I mean, I was just working there, so I was like, okay, I'm not going to purchase a bike, I'm just going to sell them, or not sell them, but I'm going to be, helping people find a bike that they like, and help them finance it and go from there. So I mean, I ended up starting, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And in my head, I'm like, okay, since I'm not going to ride a bike or a motorcycle, I'm going to purchase a bicycle. Because, I mean, I'm like 5-10 minutes from my house. So I was like, okay, well, let me purchase a bicycle. So I ended up purchasing a bicycle, and it was an electric bicycle. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do too much work. It's still pretty quick. I just take the streets. It's not far from home. So I purchased an electric bicycle. At first, before I purchased an electric bicycle, I told myself, all right, look, there's a scooter, a Ruckus, the Honda Ruckuses. And I was looking at some custom ones, like, wow, those are pretty sick. I can customize it however I like, and it's automatic, basically. There's no clutch or anything like that. You just gas and go. So I thought that's what I was going to get. I was like, okay, maybe I could get a Ruckus and, just stay on the streets. Nothing crazy. So I thought about that, and I didn't end up doing that. I ended up getting the electric bicycle. So I was, once I started going to work in my electric bicycle. It was a pedal assist, not really electric, like you throttle it or anything. It was an electric assist bicycle where you pedal, but you're barely pedaling and you're like flying on it. So that was pretty fun. But again, I had that and I was using it for a couple of weeks. And within about a month, I was like, okay. At the time, I had a Mustang. I had a Ford Mustang EcoBoost that I put a lot of money into, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not using that, so I'm going to be saving a lot of money and, no gas since I'm using an electric bicycle. I was like, oh my God, I'm so cool. So at that point, I was like, well, I've always wanted a truck. I've always wanted to get a truck. Always. So what I did was apply for a truck within like a month or so of working there. And this was around October, September, no, about 2 months, because I started around September. Oh, a month. So in October, I've been wanting to get a truck, and I applied for a truck, and I got pre-approved. So I called the dealership. I said, I'm on my way. I'm here to look at this truck. And at that point of time, I sat down with the sales guy and I told him exactly what I was looking for, my payment and everything. And they weren't meeting the requirements I was asking. So I said, okay, well, since you guys aren't really going to even try to, get anywhere near my stuff, then I am not going to even try, basically. So they kind of ruined my mood to purchase a what's it called, a truck. So at that point I was like, great, I ran my credit. Let me just get a motorcycle. So I finally was like, you know what? After everyone talking so much stuff about him, I was like, I guess I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna purchase a motorcycle. And I never ridden one. I never have ever even turned one on or nothing. So it was pretty scary. And I told myself, okay, well, I'm not going to take it home anytime soon because I know my parents are going to kill me. So I purchased it. And my first bike was the 2017 Honda CB300F. So it was a naked bike. And I said, okay, it's a 300. It's a perfect beginner's bike. And it was already on blowout. I mean, yeah, me working there, honestly, they weren't even going to discount anymore on how crazy of a blowout it was, because of how old it was as well. So I took advantage of that and just said, okay, this is going to be my first bike, so let me take advantage of it and get it. So for about 2 months, I did not take it home. I was practicing in the back of the dealership, and all I was doing was basically like clutch and throttle practice. So I would like put it in first gear, but I would be standing up, and I'd put the clutch in, and I would slowly let go of the clutch, but also keep my other hand on the brake, and I just slowly get the feel for how it would move when it was in first gear, and I would do that. Then it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, when I felt comfortable shifting gears and everything, I started to feel more comfortable in taking it home. So it got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it home. I can't wait any longer. I'm gonna be bringing it to work now, save some more money on gas or whatever I was thinking at the time. So one day after work, I was like, all right, let's do this. And I took it home, and my parents were there and said, what is that? And I told them it was, of course, a motorcycle. And I mean, of course, my mom was like, I think I was more worried about my mom more than anything, but she saw it in the garage and was like, so when are you taking me? When are you gonna give me a ride? And I was like, hold on, what? He's like, y luego, ¿cuándo me vas a llevar? ¿Cuándo ibas a hacer un ride? And I was like, okay, well, if you're cool about it, well, let's see how my dad acts. And then, I mean, my dad was kind of like, you know, he was quiet. He didn't really say much, but I mean, he didn't really give me anything bad about it, so it was pretty chill about that. But I mean, my parents have always been very good to me in regards of what decisions I make, and I try to do my best. So, god damn, it is wild. So that was my story of how I got my first bike. And I loved that Honda CB300. I ended up, taking it to work. I got comfortable with it. Unfortunately, it was a time where it was starting to get into the winter time. So I was kind of scared because I was new of how my riding style was, because I was just scared to ride. So it just really got to the point where I had to stop for a little bit. But before that, it was only a month when I was like, all right, I got one, I'm gonna get my girl one. So I ended up getting another Honda Grom. Oh my god, this is just showing off now. Oh my god, what do you think this is? He is just trying to go sliding down the hill. My goodness. So yeah, I was like, alright, well, I'm gonna get my girl to start riding with me too now. So I bought her a Honda Grom. And I mean, I bought her a red Honda Grom, and it was great. I mean, I bought her everything, and I was hoping she would get into it, but unfortunately, she didn't really get into it as much. But I think it was also the timing of when it was. Again, it was during like really cold season, and it would get dark really early. So I think that's also why she probably didn't get into it. But I had the Honda Grom, and it stayed at her house, and I probably had like under 100 miles for like almost a year. But yeah, I mean, that was like in November when I purchased the Honda Grom. So after, just getting more comfortable in riding with my Honda CB300F, I just got more comfortable, and coming around towards closer to summertime, this was about April, I decided to finally pull the trigger and get a cruiser, my Harley. I've always wanted to get a Harley. If it was going to be a bike, it was going to be a Harley. I didn't know what Harley. I was looking at a Fat Bob at first, but I was like, I really don't want to be paying close to almost $20,000 for a bike. And I mean, I love cars more, but that's a story for another day. But this motorcycle that I'm currently riding is the 2019 Harley Sportster 48, but it's a 1200. So I went from a 300 to a 125 to a 1200. So at one point I owned all three of these bikes, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I have 3 bikes. The CB300, don't get me wrong, I loved it just because it's way better going through turns on that thing than this thing. I'm always scared I'm going to hit something on this. But it did give me a huge realization in regards to what type of bike a beginner should get. And honestly, I think anywhere, I mean, I can't even say, to tell you the truth, just because there are people who are looking for 300cc bikes, and there's people looking for 1400cc bikes, if not even more. But for a first timer who has never ridden before and wants to get to learn to ride, don't be scared of the CCs, I want to say. I think you'll get used to it very fast, but you should always just go at your own pace. I mean, if there's nothing wrong with having small CC bikes. I mean, I had a 300 and I would take it on the freeway all the way from Hayward all the way to passing Concord on the freeway. I mean, yeah, I would max it out to its limit, but it was still smooth. It was very smooth. The 1200 that I'm currently using, it's a 1200. It's a 5-speed, but you really feel at high RPMs because this is a lot more torquey, if anything. The horsepower, I mean, it's but it's usually, these V-blocks are basically more torquey than anything. But again, I mean, if you're a beginner, I don't say it's a bad or a good thing. It doesn't matter. But you should really take into consideration if you plan on moving on and what you're going to do with it more than anything. Because you could honestly be perfect with the 125 and use it as a commuter if that's all you're going to be using it for, if you take the street going to work. If you're going to plan on, doing long trips or anything like that, then yeah, I mean, a 400, 650, it's a lot better. But just always, again, keep into consideration everything that you're going to be doing with the vehicle. But there's no right or wrong answer to how many cc's you should start off with. But yeah, I mean, it got to the point where I got really comfortable in riding this. I mean, I'm not a pro yet. I'm still learning tons and tons every single day. And I'm starting to finally get to ride this bike a lot more. So just barely about the beginning of the year, I sold my Honda CB 300F because it just got to a point where I was like, okay, this is it. I don't need all these bikes. And then I also ended up leaving the Honda Grom at my buddy's ranch because I put some knobbies on it, thinking it was going to be pretty awesome to ride it with some knobbies on it, but those knobbies had no grip or nothing. That one day I slipped on the bike and it smashed some fairings on it, and I just decided not to keep it because I don't use it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm up here at your ranch every now and then, and I don't need this Grom anywhere else. So I'll sell it to you because you probably need it for stuff up here to get, you know, to your other locations. So I just sold it to him. So now I just have my Harley, and it's more than anything I need. So I'm very happy with it. I enjoy it, but it's fun.
And the quality is perfect.
Dude, it's got bugs on there.
Yeah, it's bugs.
This shit's hot, huh?
Oh yeah, my bike is burning, dude.
I like these rims.
You like those?
That's strong.
Very dope. Go MT-09.